Hello. So I thought I'd try making a quick FPL video. I just had a few thoughts I wanted to share, mainly about these 5 free transfers we've got coming and whether we should use them or save them. I wanted to try and have a look forward to the double season and blank season, second half of the season, to see how many doubles and blanks we may be likely to get, whether it's worth saving them or not. And then I might talk a little bit about just my own team, other little thoughts, free hits, and look at some charts, things like that. But the main thing I was thinking, so we get these 5 free transfers, should we use them or save them? In the second half of the season, I was trying to think. Originally, I was looking at it, and one of the first things I noticed was that it looked like it might be unlikely we'll get doubles in 27. There doesn't seem to be the same amount of pressure. So last season we had this situation where Liverpool and Newcastle got to the final of the EFL Cup, and the Liverpool game actually got brought forward, whereas the Newcastle game didn't, because Newcastle weren't in Europe, so they just ended up, their double just went in 32. There was no pressure. But there was this kind of, very similar to last season, we got this situation with the FA Cup final where whoever gets to the FA Cup final and their opponents, their game will probably, the FA Cup final will be on the Saturday, Premier League games on the Sunday, so it will cause a blank. So the Premier League games will just get moved to the midweek of 37, probably. I'd imagine that's the idea. But you've also got the Europa League final in the midweek. So teams, if it's Aston Villa or Liverpool or Man United or Forest, because Forest and Villa are in the Europa League, if they get, those teams, they could cause knock-on effects and clashes, because you need to leave them free for Villa and Forest potentially getting to the final of the Europa League. So that kind of creates knock-on effects. But when I first looked at it, I thought, well, the only knock-on effect is like you've got Brentford, Palace, and Fulham are the only ones who actually have that knock-on effect. Because like Brentford in game week 34, they play Man United there, so which means that one can't go to 36, because that 36 needs to be reserved for the possibility of Forest, Man United getting brought forward to 36 rather than going to 37. So you get this kind of knock-on effect, and Fulham are playing Aston Villa there. But Fulham and Burnley and Brentford and Leeds are not European teams. So there's no pressure at all. They can go in 32 or they can go anywhere. They're not in Europe, so there's no pressure to put those in to bring them forward. Crystal Palace and Man City, put a pin in that, because that's the only one that might be significant. Arsenal Wolves, again, so Arsenal Wolves, that could potentially be put in 33. Then Arsenal Newcastle, if that was a blank, that could just go in 36, and Arsenal Burnley could go in 37. And there's not actually any pressure to bring it forward. Then there's none of those teams are involved in this European situation, in the Europa situation. It's only Aston Villa, Liverpool, Man United and Forest that are the ones that are involved. So with Arsenal, that could just be a nice simple, that one goes to 33, that one goes to 36, that one goes to 37. There's no pressure necessarily. Put a pin in that as well. Same with Crystal Palace. They play Sunderland here. Newcastle and Sunderland. So that could go to 33. Newcastle Arsenal goes to 36. Newcastle West Ham goes to 37. No pressure. Same with the other teams. Man City Palace can go there. Man City Burnley can go there. Man City Bournemouth, no pressure. And the Chelsea one, Chelsea Everton can go there. Chelsea Brighton there. Chelsea Tottenham there. None of them are involving Liverpool or Man United. So I was kind of thinking there's not actually that much pressure to bring any of these games forward. Now, last season, Liverpool got brought forward. It was Liverpool-Newcastle final. Liverpool got brought forward. Newcastle didn't, because they weren't in Europe. So they just ended up going in 32. I think it was like Newcastle Palace, something like that. So that didn't matter. But the Liverpool one did get brought forward. Now, I seem to remember they had the knock-on effect thing with this Europa situation. They had a knock-on effect. But I think a lot of people thought they still had one free midweek. I think it was like 37. A lot of people thought they would just stick it in 37, but they didn't, because they had the knock-on effect, but they could have still put one in 37 or something like that. But they didn't. So basically, last season we actually didn't get any doubles in 36 at all. So we had this big free midweek, which I thought, why would you have a big free midweek here if you're not going to put anything in it? But they didn't put anything in it in the end. And there may be reasons for that. It may be the playoffs, Championship and League One playoffs, and Sky want that reserved for that. It might be that the FA Cup, they want a nice week before the FA Cup for build-up for the FA Cup. I don't know. There may be other reasons. But we didn't get any doubles in 36 last season. Or they may just want to have one free midweek as a backup just in case of emergencies. It may be that. So if that's the case, which I guess actually when I think about it is probably likely, then that means Arsenal-Wolves, if Arsenal get to the EFL Cup final, Arsenal-Wolves, even though they don't actually have the pressure, they could potentially have free blanks and they'll have free spots to put it in. The EFL final can go to 33, this FA Cup semi-final can go to 36, and the Game Week 37, if they get to the FA Cup final, that can just go into the midweek of 37. So there's not actually any pressure to bring it forward. But if they want to do what they did last season and have a contingency plan of having one free midweek, then they probably will bring it forward. So it doesn't feel quite the same as it did last season with Liverpool, where there was a real knock-on effect. It doesn't feel quite the same, but I think there's still a fair chance that they will bring them forward. So Arsenal, Wolves could come forward. Chelsea, Everton could come forward. These are teams in Europe. Man City, Palace could come forward, and Newcastle, Sunderland could come forward. The reason I said put a pin in Palace is because Palace play Liverpool here, and they are one of the teams that are involved in this one here, Game Week 37, with Aston Villa. So if Man City or Palace get to the EFL final, that will be a blank. If they don't bring it forward and decide to put it here, there is a risk that if Palace or Liverpool get to the FA Cup semi-final, that game would have to then go there because it can't go midweek 33, so it'll have to go in 36. But then again, if Liverpool get to the final of the FA Cup, then they may not be able to put their fixture in 37, so it'd have to go in 36. So particularly Man City and Palace are the ones that have the most pressure, I would say. I think. I mean, I'm thinking this kind of on the fly a little bit, having a deep look at it. But I think Man City and Palace, if either of those two teams get to the EFL final, then there's a very big pressure to bring it forward. I think, yeah. Yeah. And so, and another thing to kind of bear in mind as well is that all of this will need to be decided here, kind of after the second leg of this EFL Cup. And at this point, they'll need to decide whether to bring these blanks from the final forward or save them for later. And at this point, we'll only have had the first round of the FA Cup, round of 64. That's the first time that the Premier League teams go into the FA Cup. So most of them will probably get through that round. You might get some upsets. And then we won't have had the playoffs or the round of 16 of Europe yet. So as long as all the teams like Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest, as long as they at least get through to the playoffs, which they should do. Nottingham Forest are a bit in a precarious position, but they should get through. Then the reschedulers kind of have to assume they have to work on possibility, not probability. So even though it might be unlikely Forest will get to the final of the Europa, they can't take that risk. So in conclusion, I mean, originally I was going to make this video because I thought Brentford and Fulham, we'd only have doubles in 27 if Brentford and Fulham or Palace get to the EFL final. But actually it's the opposite, because Brentford aren't in Europe and Fulham aren't in Europe, and neither are Burnley or Leeds. So if they get to the EFL final, there's no pressure on those games at all. They can go in any of these kind of like free midweeks anywhere. They don't necessarily have to bring that forward. But with Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, Man City, and Palace, I think. Palace particularly and Man City, there's a bit more pressure to bring it forward. But yeah, basically they probably will bring those games forward to 27, I would say. 26 looks like it's not enough time between the EFL second leg and there. It's only like 2 weeks, whereas you've got 3 weeks to 27. So they will probably bring it forward to 27 if they want to do that, what they did last season, by keeping one of these game weeks free. Yeah, so that is my bet. Yeah, I think that is probably quite likely. I don't know. Originally, I was going to make this video to say that I thought game week 27 double was unlikely, but actually thinking about it a bit more, I think it's probably more likely than not that we will get a double in 27. So long as Arsenal, City, Newcastle, Chelsea, or Palace get to the EFL final, I think. Anyway, I'm just throwing it out there, throwing thoughts out there. You can decide for yourselves. There'll be more thinking done on it. So we may get a double, maybe 2 doubles in 27. So that would be handy to have 5 transfers. That would be handy to have 5 transfers. And then basically, I think the second half of the season is very likely. I think everyone's going to wildcard in 31 because we did it last season, but then this season is even better because I think last season the game week 32 started there. We've got an extra week this season as well. So any announcements for doubles and blanks will almost certainly, well, I would have said very likely, be announced before the game week 32 deadline. So we've got this massive block of time to kind of wildcard, and then you'll have 32. Could be a double there, but probably not unless Brentford or Fulham get through. And then we'll have double 33. People probably be free hitting in 34, depending on whether good teams get to the FA Cup semi-final or bad teams. But you'll probably double 33, free hit 34, and then there may be doubles in 36. The EFL final, Cardiff is still in it, but assuming they get knocked out, and assuming the other assumption is that Palace don't play Man City. If Palace play Man City, if they both get to the final, then you'll only have 1 blank in 31. But assuming that doesn't happen, every other team plays somebody who isn't in the EFL Cup. Fulham, Burnley, Newcastle, Sunderland. Yeah, so as long as Palace and Man City don't play each other in the EFL final, we'll have 2 blanks there. And there's a good chance we'll have 2 doubles in 27 then. I would have thought, probably. And then in the FA Cup, we'll have 4 blanks, maybe 3, depending on who gets through. 3 or 4 blanks. And they will probably get moved to 33. Yeah, if we go by what happened last season. Last season we only had 2 doubles, didn't we? I think. Can't remember what happened there. It was like Man City and Arsenal. Can't remember what happened there. What was there? Maybe one of the teams played each other, didn't they? I think. I don't think I've got it up here. Maybe I do. 33. What was it? 33, 32, 33. Yeah, these. So it was Man City, Villa, Arsenal, Palace. Maybe they played each other in. And maybe they played each other in the FA Cup as well, though they got to the final, those 2 teams. Can't remember. But I think we only had 2 doubles in 33 last season. So you might only get 2, but you'll probably get 3. That'll probably be the big double, 33. And then 37. Yeah, we might get a blank again in 36 then. Because by the time we get to 37, the odds that we have this situation with Nottingham Forest and Man United and Aston Villa and Liverpool, I mean, they'll probably all be knocked out or something by that point. You need one of Aston Villa or Liverpool to get to the final of the FA Cup, and you need Aston Villa to still be in the Europa League. Probably by about this point, I guess, the FA Cup semi-final. If they're bringing things forward, if they're bringing that forward and being proactive and bringing that forward being proactive, then once we get to this stage, then they can decide whether they have to bring that one forward to 36 or leave it until later. So they might be able to leave it quite late, in which case Forest and Villa will probably be knocked out or something. Or yeah, So I feel like there's every chance we won't get a double in 36 again. Potentially. Yeah, who knows? So yeah, probably get a couple of doubles in 27, and then we'll wild card and use a bench boost in 33, free hit 34. Probably won't need any more transfers there. So maybe we may only need the 5 free transfers for 27. That might be it. Some people may wildcard early and then use their transfers here. Yeah, I think that's all my thoughts. I was kind of thinking, I've got a few changes I want to make already in my team, like thinking maybe Petrovic to Raya could be nice. Maybe I could upgrade a Garner to an Anderson, just a little bench change. Maybe switch from 5 at the back to 4 at the back. So I'm just trying to think how trigger happy should I be with the transfers, but probably not too trigger happy. I think it'd probably be nice to have 5 free transfers for this little period here when the double comes. Depending on who it is, you're probably going to want to maximise that as much as possible. So, yeah, so that's that. As for waffling about the rest of my team, I'm doing alright-ish, 1.2 million. I got smashed by the free hit. I thought about doing free hit 13. I haven't actually been paying attention to FPL as much as I used to, so I kind of just couldn't be bothered to do my team. I knew it would take a bit of research, and I thought, I'll just leave it. I'll do it another time. I'll just try triple captain in Haaland last game week, and that obviously failed quite massively. So that is a shame. My chips so far, triple captain Haaland, blank, and I got 6 points on my bench boost as well. That was pretty impressive. Would have been 9, but I had 3 yellow cards. So yeah, my chip usage has been quite lame this season. But that's fine. I need to think about when I'm going to use my free hit, and I've been finding that tricky to figure out when to use it. I mean, most people use it in 13 now, but it is tricky to kind of, because my team's changing all the time. I mean, if I've got O'Reilly now, if I end up getting Foden, I'm going to, all of a sudden I've got triple City, and it's like, oh, now I need to look at like when's the worst game week for City then. There's not many game weeks left. I was kind of half thinking maybe we might get some weather emergencies, but I look forward at the long forecast, and it doesn't sound like there's any extreme weather coming in the next couple of weeks, so it's probably not going to happen. I should probably just use it. Generally trying to figure out when to use my free hit, I just look at which players I've got the most players of. So, I mean, I did have triple Bournemouth. I've got double Bournemouth now, double Palace, double Arsenal, double City now, and a couple of scattered other players. And so I kind of look at, well, when are their worst fixtures? I mean, Arsenal got good fixtures everywhere. Bournemouth is probably the Chelsea ones. Chelsea, maybe 19, Chelsea away. Man City now, probably Crystal Palace away is their trickiest, maybe. So that'd be 16. And who else have I got? Did I say Arsenal, Bournemouth, City, Palace? Yeah, and then Palace are like Palace 16 as well. So I guess 16. A couple of other people pointed out 16. Arsenal, Wolves. If I do get Raya, it would have been 16. I would have waited for the transfer. It was not worth a hit, so I would have waited for 16, but maybe I could free hit 16, get him in 17 anyway. We'll see, or go for some other players. Yeah, 16 feels like it could be good. Brentford versus Leeds is good, but it just feels like a kind of poor game week 13 now. Thiago versus Burnley was better than Thiago versus Leeds. Leeds defence, although Leeds defence is still like second worst in the last 6 game weeks, it's still pretty bad. It's not as bad as Burnley's though. And then Fulham versus Burnley here. It's Burnley away and it's Fulham. It just feels a bit, who are you going to pick? Jimenez? Doesn't feel great. Sometimes I look at, well, who else plays Burnley? You know, maybe if I free hit in 15 and just go for a free Newcastle versus Burnley, that could be interesting. Or wait for 17 and go for free Bournemouth against Burnley there, although I've already got double Bournemouth. But I may sell Semenyo because he's been dog doo-doo for a little while now. He's been quite bad, hasn't he? 4 points, 1 point. What's this? 0 points. Oh, did he not play that game? I can't even remember. Or was he suspended or something? 0, 2, 3. He's just been blanking. Basically, he's been blanking ever since I bought him. I bought him right after that 18-pointer, and I sold him Bommo, and Bommo's been doing well ever since I sold him as well. So that's fun. Anyway, what am I talking about? So free hit. When's a good free hit? Yeah, I mean, I could just bring him back in for that Burnley game. 17, 19 felt interesting. I just like, so Newcastle play Burnley again there. Liverpool Leeds could be interesting. Man United Wolves. That's not bad, is it? Brighton West Ham. All 15 again. 15 Brighton West Ham. I wouldn't mind going for like a Minter maybe. A couple of Newcastle players against Burnley. Could bring in Foden for Sunderland. Don't know. So 15, 16, or 19, or 17, or 18 could all be possible free hits. Good free hits, but don't know. I probably won't do it 15. I'll probably end up just leaving it till 16, till 19. Knowing me, can't decide. Yeah, it's just tricky to figure out when to use your free hit. Anyway, what else did I want to talk about though? I wanted to talk about defenders. I've been doing 5 at the back for a while now. Again, also ever since I started doing it, it hasn't really been paying off as much as it used to. So I'm wondering whether maybe I should scooch back to 4 at the back, see if I can upgrade a Ghana, maybe have a think about scooching back to 4 at the back. I was looking at the history of the clean sheet rate this season, and at the start of the season we had it was a much higher rate compared to previous seasons. So the blue is this season, the orange is the average in each game week. So the first 4 game weeks were much higher, but then it went much lower, and now it's kind of averaged out. So now we're kind of average, and this is the overall number of clean sheets per match day compared to all previous seasons, the last 10 seasons, and it's kind of just right on average now. 23-24 season was a weird one where we had very few clean sheets and loads of extra goals. This is the number of goals per match day, but again, this season it's just gone right back to the average again. So the number of goals and the number of clean sheets so far now has gone back to average. But that doesn't necessarily mean we shouldn't be playing 5 at the back, because we got the DEFCON thing this season. That's the big difference still. But maybe teams aren't playing as defensively as they used to. Yeah, that idea that teams are playing more defensively this season maybe isn't true. But they still got the DEFCON thing. My model generally has, this is from game week 15 to 21, hasn't got this game week 14 data yet. It's Wednesday at the moment. But generally it has been having a lot of defenders high up. All these yellow are all defenders, and it does seem to kind of like defenders for predicted points, because they're getting all these DEFCON points added onto their normal points. So I'm still inclined to think 5 at the back could be good. In my mind, I'm thinking routes to points it's just those clean sheet points. They've got DEFCON points. Some of these defenders have okay chances of attacking returns, and those clean sheet points as well. It just feels like and the bonus points as well, because the bonus points change more towards defenders as well, or away from attackers. Pardon me. So I think still inclined to think 5 at the back is good. One thing I noticed in my model that it's something I hadn't added for years and years, and I've been meaning to add, is I haven't got any minus numbers for when a defender or goalkeeper concedes 2 goals or more. I never took that away from the points. I never added that on, which is a bit of an oversight. I have added it on now. There's a certain percentage chance that your defender or goalkeeper will concede 2 or more goals, and that's you've got to have you get a -1 for that. So I've added that now, but it hasn't made a huge difference. The defenders have gone down a notch, a fraction of a point, but not much. Yeah. So I don't know. I may go back to 4 at the back, but at the moment I'm still going with 5. And the other thing about defenders, so I just sold Tarkowski for O'Reilly and Senesi for Chow, and I'm already regretting it. Obviously, Tarkowski just got a 10-pointer. And the thing I'm wondering about the defenders as well is that they feel a little bit like the keepers, where sometimes you buy a cheaper keeper because in the tougher games, that's when they get their monster hauls. If you go for a Raya, you just get like 6s and 2s, and maybe you get a few more 6s. But with the keepers, the cheaper keepers, sometimes in the tougher games, that's when they really get loads of saves and they get bonus. And if they get a clean sheet, that's when they get the saves and the bonus as well, and they get the monster hauls. And I feel a bit like it might be the same thing with the defenders, where you look at a Tarkowski and it's, yes, he's going through a tough run of games, but these are the games where Everton aren't expecting to win, so they're going to kind of defend maybe more resolutely, and they're more likely to get DEFCONs and bonus and the clean sheet if they do manage to get the clean sheet, which has happened in the last few games for Tarkowski. He got it against Man United, another clean sheet against Bournemouth. So I slightly regret selling him, maybe. My model just had Tarkowski as, they were tough fixtures, and my model had them as they weren't very good fixtures for DEFCON chances. They were all teams that don't give up many DEFCONs. So same with Senesi. So I thought, well, maybe I'll make a move. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just outcome bias, but that is something I'm thinking about with the defenders. Is like, maybe I should have just stuck. I mean, Senesi and Tarkowski, they felt so solid. Maybe I should have just stuck with them. But we'll see. Hopefully, these guys will come through in a future game week. Yeah, that's the defenders anyway. And just quick look at the charts. So the DEFCON charts. These are the teams at the moment. It's not just centre backs. This is anybody. So these are the teams that are giving up the most DEFCONs to opposing centre backs. This is the charts here. So you got teams like Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, relatively high. So when your defender is playing like a Liverpool or an Arsenal, it might be worth still playing them because they're probably fairly likely to get DEFCONs, even though they might concede. Whereas when they're playing Man City or Chelsea, you're probably better off benching them because they're probably going to lose their clean sheet and not get DEFCONs either. So that was my logic. Similar with the DMs, I think, at the bottom, Arsenal at the bottom. So if you've got a DM playing Arsenal, he's probably not going to get many attacking returns, and he's probably not going to get DEFCONs either. City fairly low, Chelsea fairly low, maybe Newcastle as well. But Liverpool mid. Some of the other teams, Man United and Palace, always seem to be near the top of these. They give away a lot of DEFCONs. So they're the charts. One thing I noticed as well with Chelsea are very low for this, but I've noticed that they're quite high for fullbacks. It's still a low number. They're probably not going to actually get to the 10 threshold. But I'm guessing with Chelsea, maybe they go around the wings a lot. Maybe somebody who knows football better than me would be able to attest to that. But it seems like maybe they just go around the wings, and so they bypass something about their playing style. They bypass the middle of the park, and so they're very low for centre backs and DMs, but they're high for fullbacks. So that's maybe what's happening with Chelsea. Yep, but that's DEFCONs. I mean, the DEFCON leaders at the moment. I'm not sure if I've got a minutes filter on this, so some of these will be crap. I don't know who Camvot is. He's that Palace player, isn't he? Lewis Cook. Wifer's always up there, but I don't really know whether he sometimes plays defensive midfielder, sometimes plays right back. Senesi and Anderson, though, are the top of my chart at the moment. This chap, I can't really remember who he is. Joachim Anderson is very good for DEFCONs. Yeah, might be one to consider. These are all the names. So yeah, they're the leaders. So that's that. Form charts are interesting. Last 6 game weeks, Arsenal absolutely insane. 0.43 is like one of the lowest numbers I've ever seen on this chart, and 0.53 for the season. So Arsenal's defence is amazing. This is partly why I want to get Raya, I think, because with Raya I'd rather have a 6 mil Raya and a 4.5 defender like Joachim Anderson than a 4.5 keeper and then a 6 mil defender, because there's not really Saliba. It's not really. I don't know if they're that good, so I think I'd rather do it that way. So yeah, I'm thinking about getting Raya maybe. But interesting on this is Brentford. Brentford are 3rd best in the last 6 game weeks. Not sure what they're like for the season. I think they're doing all right. Yeah, 5th best for the season. And then in XG, they're the top for the last 6 game weeks. They cooked up the most XG per 90 in the last 6 game weeks. And for the season, they're doing all right, I think. Yeah, 5th as well. So Brentford are really surprising. The only thing about Brentford is that they're not really converting. They've only had 2 clean sheets and they've conceded 20 goals. This is before game week 14. Did they play last night? Can't remember. No, don't know if they have. But Brentford are one that stand out. And Burnley are right at the bottom. Burnley are right at the bottom of that, and they're right at the bottom of this, I think. I know Spurs are the bottom of the XG chart, and Burnley second bottom. So, kind of interesting. Sunderland, Aston Villa, Wolves, not cooking up much XG. Fulham are down there, but after Man City game, they might be a bit higher. But, yeah. So that's the form charts. Yeah, Brentford are an interesting one. Yeah, the thing about Brentford... Well, let's just the last chart I'll go through is like my model, and so this is looking game week 15 to 21. Predicted points: Haaland top, still pretty good value. Yeah, Haaland obviously. Gabriel's out. Bruno's second best pick then in the game according to my model. Second best pick in the game. His XGI is not amazing, but pretty good DEFCON rate. Good fixtures apparently. My model likes his fixtures. Pretty good DEFCON chance in the next few games. So yeah, Bruno's top, second top. Enzo's very high, very good XGI data, but I think he's going to start playing more deep now. If Palmer's back, Delap's back, Pedro may come in, may play deeper. Caicedo's out for the next 3, so Enzo may play deeper. I've never fully trusted Enzo. Last season, people jumped on him and he didn't quite pay off, and so I'm a little skeptical, but he is high on my model, so maybe it depends where he plays. I think Timber right up there, so yeah, good XGI data, and he's obviously pretty nailed. Mateta, next best forward, he's still up there. His numbers may be skewed from that one game where he got like 4 goals or 3 goals or something, and but that's still technically part of his data, but he is still up there. Tricky fixtures coming up, but he's pretty good. There is a question with the forwards of whether I was thinking next game week. Hang on one sec. Sorry, my brother was leaving. I was thinking game week 15 maybe selling Mateta for Thiago or Watermade. One of those two. Thiago is actually way higher. His XGI is insane at the moment. That may be penalties. It's almost twice as much as Watermada. When Watermada's got better fixtures, especially those Burnley fixtures. But then, yeah, I don't know. I could just free hit. Could go to Thiago and then free hit Watermada with the Burnley fixture. Maybe, I don't know. By the way, just a random thought that just occurred to me. You can't free hit in 19 and 20. Apparently there's a rule somewhere that you can't free hit in consecutive weeks. So if I did free hit in 19, I couldn't do it again in 20. I wouldn't do that anyway, but just thought I'd mention that. So yeah, but they're all good. I could just keep Mateta. He's technically higher on my, but then that's because I think his numbers might be skewed. So, and I'm just a bit cautious about Crystal Palace and their fitness and all their games coming up. Yeah, actually, I should talk about what happened with this. I still feel what happened with that Palace game here. It ended up getting put into. Well, let's have a look here. It ended up getting put there. So the Crystal Palace Arsenal game, EFL game, was in the midweek there on the Tuesday. The weird thing was that the Arsenal Everton game and the Palace Leeds game was originally going to be played on the Sunday, and they've moved it to Saturday. So I mean, that was one of the big things. I thought, well, that's why they can't move the Palace Leeds game to somewhere later in game week 26 or something, because people had paid their train tickets. That was one of the arguments. They paid their train tickets and all this kind of stuff, but they moved it anyway. It's all very strange. This is why, I don't understand the rescheduling at all. So they moved it anyway. So they still disrupted all the train tickets and hotel accommodation stuff. And they haven't solved the problem at all, because they've still got to play this game on the Thursday, as far as I know. I don't think that's been moved. Don't think it can be moved. So they've still not really solved the problem of only having 1 day's rest between those two games. I guess maybe they're hoping that they'll be qualified at least for the playoffs by that point, and so maybe they'll just throw that game. Maybe that's what they're thinking. Probably. I still find it very strange that they didn't just move that. The Arsenal-Everton game could have been moved to anywhere in this week. They could have just, maybe Saturday, maybe Friday. Friday would have been nice, because Sky haven't got any TV on anything at all on that day. And the Crystal Palace Chelsea game, Leeds game, could have just been moved game week 26 or something. One of the later game weeks. Where was I thinking? No, it would have been 22 or 23. That's what I was thinking, wasn't it? But yeah, so a bit of a mystery. I still don't really understand it. There was that half argument that they couldn't move it because it's people have made their arrangements and it's Christmas, but they moved it anyway. It's like, well, if you're going to move it, just move it to 22. It's much easier for everybody. They've got a big free midweek in game week 22. Crystal Palace, big free midweeks here and here. Although actually, no, that's not. Yeah, no, would have been fine. I don't know. Mystery. So there must be a reason. Maybe they want to keep it in line. I don't know. Anyway, back to the model. And Bomo's going to AFCON. Can't really pick him. These Brentford defenders again. Oops, what have I done? These Brentford defenders, I just don't trust them. They're really high. They're really doing really well for defence at the moment, Brentford, but I just don't trust them. Collins is good for DEFCON, but I don't trust Brentford to keep a clean sheet, so I probably would avoid them. You could. They're worth a punt though if you fancy it. Saka's up there, so Saka's good. Pardon me. Lacroix is up there. He's good. Gakpo is interesting. Gakpo's up there, and this is based on if he plays 4 out of every 5 games. If he plays 5 out of 5 games, he'll be in the top 5 or 6 picks. So even if he plays 4 out of every 5 games, he's still pretty good. 0.81 XGI in the last 6, 0.68 for the season. He is interesting. Just depends if you trust Slot. They've got tough-ish fixtures according to my model. Leeds, Brighton, Tottenham, Wolves, Leeds. I mean, they don't look that tough on paper, but this is going up to 21 though, so it's got Fulham and Arsenal. Maybe it's bringing Fulham and Arsenal into it. Yeah, so Gakpo is I think he's a good pick. Probably if you fancy the pump. Foden, where's Foden? I wonder. I mean, this isn't including. This isn't including last night's escapades. Foden is down there in 66. Where's 31? He's got an 85% chance of starting. I've got him down as, so I guess he does miss the occasional one. Depends if he's going to keep playing. He might get rested, because it's Pep, isn't it? If he plays every game, he'll get to about 31 points. So he's 0.5 XGI. He was on. It's it's nothing special. It depends, but Foden's one where he can be quite explosive sometimes. So he's probably worth a punt if you want to go for him. I probably won't go for him, and then I'll probably just sit and watch everybody else get his points. That's what I'll probably do. I've just gone for O'Reilly. I don't want to take too many City risks. I don't think. They don't feel like me picks. I'm already regretting doing Tarkowski to O'Reilly. Anyway, Gakpo. Elliot Anderson is next, just behind Gakpo. So that's pretty impressive. He's about 0.28 XGI is actually all right for a cheap player, and he's got those DEFCONs as well. 70% chance of DEFCONs, so it's like he's really good. He is pretty good for a cheap player. This is what I'm thinking. I might do Garner to Anderson. 5.4 now, isn't he? I could do Garner to Anderson and then start playing him regularly and playing 4 at the back instead of 5. Seems like quite a simple little cheap thing that I could do. Doesn't really matter his fixtures. They're not great DEFCON fixtures, but he's pretty good at DEFCON, so it probably won't matter that much. Yeah, so he's good. And Joachim Andersen one is somebody I avoided at the start of the season, but he is actually going from strength to strength now. He's kind of 0.1 XGI is fine for a centre back. Very good DEFCON rate, and Fulham's defence has been surprisingly good. I think. I think they're another one like Brentford. So XGI, they're just under Brentford there, very similar to Brentford, but only 3 clean sheets and conceded 17. And that'll be even higher now after the Man City game. But they're similar to Brentford, where they're actually putting up good numbers. I don't think their XG's as good. No, XG's not as good. So Brentford are really good there. But yeah, Fulham interesting defences. So Joshua Anderson's all right. Maybe wait for the Palace game. That Burnley Forest West Ham run is pretty nice. Definite. Yeah, good pick. David Raya, right up there. Yeah, he's good, isn't he? Yeah, David Raya, very good. Munoz, good pick if you fancy it. Always a good pick, really. Always a good pick. Then Chow, that was the one I'd go. Chow and O'Reilly, so they're the 2 that I've gone for. O'Reilly, this is if he plays 69% of his games, which he was, but he's probably going to play more than that, especially once 8-Nori goes. He might miss game week 15, possibly. He could be due a rest, so I'm going to have to keep my eyes peeled for that. But after that, he'll probably play every game. So, yeah, he's played a few 390s in a week. I think he's fine. And so, yeah, if he plays every game, he'll be right up the top here as well. But that's because his XGI is like insane. 0.445 for the season, 0.76 in the last 6 game weeks. Very good for O'Reilly. That's why I went for him. But he blanked, didn't he? But he might do better in the future game weeks, hopefully. Gay's good. Delict is another. Do you trust Man United? I don't think he's a possibility, but Man United's defence is getting better. But they've only had 1 clean sheet and conceded 20 goals. That's even worse. So yeah, I just don't trust Man United's defence, so I wouldn't go for him, I don't think. They've got good fixtures though, I think. Wolves, Bournemouth, Villa, Newcastle, Wolves, Leeds, Burnley. These are all teams that are fairly low XG, apart from maybe Newcastle, Bournemouth-ish. Saliba, he's up there because he's Arsenal. He's boring though, but he's fine. Declan Rice, João Pedro. Declan Rice is like fine-ish, I guess. He's actually this metric, his true value is actually negative, so he's probably not. Probably a bit overpriced. 7 mil, and he doesn't really do that much. Or does he? Nah, 0.32. You may as well go for Anderson, I think. Yeah, Anderson's better than Rice. Who's this? Saka's in minus territory as well, so he might be a bit overpriced there, Saka. But it depends where you spend your money. Another thought I was thinking as well is, are there players in the future that I'm going to want to spend money on? I need to kind of try and anticipate. Is it likely that I'm going to want to get Isaac at some point or Palmer? And if so, maybe I shouldn't get Raya. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should start trying to kind of. Maybe I should go down to Thiago rather than Walter. Try and save some extra money so I can get up to a Palmer or an Isaac or something like that. I need to start thinking about that. At the moment, none of them are really on my radar. And I'll probably just, well, at the moment, I'm not really feeling it. I'm not even feeling Palmer, to be honest. We'll have to see. Maybe Palmer, but he needs to kind of show what he can do again for a bit. So yeah, I'll probably go for Raya. João Pedro, though, is like, he's probably, I'm not sure he's a great pick with Palmer coming back on pens, probably Delap back. Yeah, I don't like him. Richards is still up there. As long as he starts tonight. If he doesn't start tonight, then he might be a bit more of a question mark, but we'll see. Mukiele, very good value. He's always up there, high on my model. I never quite trust it, but I guess his numbers check out. Good for DEFCONs. Sunderland, good. XGI, pretty good. Fairly good attacking threat. Tricky fixtures over at the moment, but he's always up there. Good value. Bruno Guimaraes, if you fancy it. Semenyo. I think I won't go through every name. That's the rest of them. Yeah, that's it. 4 yellow cards. Nathan Collins. So that's another one. Munoz, 4 yellow cards. That puts me off them. Calafiori, 4 yellows. So it maybe puts me off those picks. Probably not going this far down. Granit Xhaka. Nah, he's alright. He's on my bench anyway. So I think I'm all thunk out. Yep. Yeah, that's it then. So we'll see what happens with this game week. Haaland cap. He I don't think it was a bad punt. If you didn't go for Haaland cap, I don't think it was a fine week to punt against him, because Fulham's defence has been pretty good. Haaland blanked a few. Bruno against West Ham is good. Mateta and Saka are both, they're all good captaincy shouts. There's been game weeks where I've punted against Haaland. It's funny, this game. It's like it's so connected with vibes. Like sometimes you just feel it. Like me not free hitting last game week. I was going to do it, and then I just changed my mood. Just fancied going against it, and sometimes it backfires. Sometimes it goes well. Sometimes it makes you look like a genius, and sometimes it makes you look like an idiot, this game. So that's just that, isn't it? There's a lot of variance. It's just got to accept it, I think. Yep. Okay. I'm going to stop talking. Okay. Thanks for listening. See you later. Bye-bye.